I want to talk about the benefits as well as the milestones of semen retention in this video. And I want to specifically highlight the benefits within each stage of the semen retention process. Now, I've been on semen retention since May of 2022. So it's been about a year and 2 months now to the day. And so I can only really talk about the stages up until the point at which I'm at. But I can tell you a lot about the stages and everything that happens in between there. And so in the link below, I'm going to provide certain kinds of milestones and things that'll happen within each milestone, and you'll be able to follow along while I talk about them. So in the first week, you might notice your confidence increased. You might notice that your psychology begins to change for the better. And this is a time to really step away from any negativity and any toxic environments, and to start just drinking good, clean water, and overall just start making more practical, positive life choices in general. And before I go any further, if you support content like this, please give a like or comment or subscribe to the channel. That is the best way to support at this time. I do appreciate all of the donations that I've received over the past few weeks as well. And I want to give a shout out to those people that have. And I do want to give also a short little, disclaimer to semen retention before I go into the other milestones. So I genuinely believe that we can change the world and provide this butterfly effect if enough men go on semen retention. And I'm not saying that if you're in a relationship that you have to stop having sex with your partner or with your wife or with your girlfriend or whoever it is. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that even if it's just a small break, that you and your girlfriend or wife or whoever, whatever you're involved with, if I don't advocate for recreational sex. I don't like that. I don't like recreational sex. I don't think there's a lot of utility in it. And I really don't think that it's meaningful. And I think that sex is something sacred and should be something that is treated with reverence and respect. And I also think that the equivalent for SR for women is just simply no corn, masturbation, etc. Semen retention at its most basic level is celibacy. And so that's really how we can think about semen retention as well. But I do genuinely think also that if more people were to stop watching corn and masturbating and playing with the toys and all that other shit, I genuinely think that we will have better relationships and we will all be able to reclaim our life force. So now that disclaimer's out of the way, so that's the first week that I just talked about before this disclaimer. Then the next milestone is in about 2 to 4 weeks on retention. You'll start to notice that your social anxiety dissolves. You'll start to notice that thinking positively almost becomes the norm for you now. And you start to also get these little hints of past traumas or past hurts start to come up, because the more we retain our energy, the more we also are forced to deal with the things that we don't really necessarily want to deal with, because all of that energy is being stored inside of you, and now you're giving yourself the opportunity to overcome it because you're not giving into all this negativity. You may also notice in this 2 to 4 weeks time span that dreams may start to become more vivid. And then your innocence and purity begins to reveal itself into your own being as well. And then, of course, the attraction in women that you get will double I mean, it might even triple, but and it might stay relatively like the same, but you'll definitely notice that during the 2 to 4 week time period is when things start to really build momentum overall in your life. At 4 to 8 weeks or 1 to 2 months, you'll start to notice that your exercise gains are there. You might have new forms of finances that start to reveal themselves. And you're really starting to let go of old or bad habits like smoking or drinking or anything like that. Now, I'm not saying that if you want to have a glass of wine or something like once or twice a month, or I mean, I don't even drink that much. As like I probably have had 3 glasses of wine in the last year, and that's all really, like, as far as drinking and smoking is concerned. I stopped smoking about a month and a half into my semen retention journey last year, and I haven't looked back. And you might also notice that, again, the attraction from women will continue to increase, and then you realize that your deeper spiritual life begins to blossom at this time as well. Now, at about 3 months in, about 90 days to 3 month area, you start to realize that anything that is happening that is carnal, that is meaning a low level or a low vibrational level around you, anything that happens that is carnal around you is almost meaningless. You really don't need to pay attention to it. You don't want to pay attention to it. It's just uninteresting at that time. And then at about 3 to 6 months, that's when you start to begin to be living life on godlike mode, and your spiritual endurance will begin to increase. And again, the finances opportunities will come about. Like, you will just start to notice life starts to work with you and for you more than anything else. And you might also experience a lot of different kinds of temptations during this time, because the more that you level up and the more that you really start to strive for ascending in God's kingdom, the more the devil is going to try to reach you as well. And trust me, believe me, I've had my fair share of temptations along this semen retention journey, and it's been very difficult for me to overcome certain urges, such as lust, because that was really one of my main sins that I struggled with in my early 20s. And so it was almost like I was realizing that we are really stuck with our sin for life, and we must repent every single day. And what do I mean by repent, and what do I mean by sin? For anybody that is not Christian or does not really understand what I'm saying, or maybe is atheist and just is interested in the benefits of semen retention altogether, I don't think you can go on the semen retention journey and not get to a point of self-realization in the sense that you're walking with God, especially when you're at 3 to 6 months. I mean, that is when you start to really reap the benefits of your discipline, your sexual discipline, that is. And again, that's also where the temptations really start to arise. There was a time, and I'll share this story. There was a time in about October last year where I had multiple women, like this has never happened before. This never ever happened before. I had multiple women coming to my door with bottles of wine ready to go, if you know what I mean. And I was working at the time, like when I answered the door, and you know, it was that like feeling of, it's like it's literally being handed to me on a plate. Like it's just literally being like, here it is. And why did I rebuke it? Why did I deny it? Because I knew that the people that were coming to my door were not necessarily women that I would want to be in a long-term relationship with. And I genuinely think also that you should only be having sex if you're looking to get into a long-term relationship with that person. I don't see the point in just having, like, again, I don't see the point in recreational. And the reason for that is because whenever it was recreational in my early 20s for me, I didn't ever really come away from the, no pun intended, but I never really came away from the experience thinking like, wow, I'm so fulfilled now. Like, no, in fact, like, it was just, it made me want it even more. And it was never really the point of like sharing a certain kind of experience with someone. So this is something to be mindful of on your journey, that you're going to probably have weird random temptations, whatever kind of sins that you're struggling with. Because what I define as sin is to do that which you know is wrong for your well-being, and then to repent is to flee from that which you've done, or to learn from that which you've done. Well, to flee and to learn, I guess I should say, from that which you know you've done wrong for your well-being. It's almost like you know that you've almost done like a self-sabotage or self-abuse of some kind, and you now need to get on your knees and ask God for forgiveness. And this is also going to be the time period, the 3 to 6 months, where your connection to God is going to become even stronger, because you are in that godlike mentality. You know, I've had the feeling at certain, like, obviously this isn't all the time, but there's been certain times where I just have so much confidence in myself that it's like I just feel unstoppable for real. Like I genuinely feel as though I'm like a juggernaut. Like when I'm going into the gym hard and I'm just, you know, grunting, and not even like grunting in the sense of like making a whole lot of noise, but just like to myself, like inwardly grunting, I guess, and just really being focused on the actual feeling of the workout and the pain. Because the pain that you're feeling, I know. Like, I know that the pain that you're feeling as you are working out or doing anything difficult is defined to be the potential catastrophes that you're going to resolve down the line. And then finally, the last milestone that I want to give you guys is anywhere between the 6 to 12 month mark. And this is where your godlike mode is having a sense of longevity in discipline, in innocence, and just making overall better choices. This is where you're going to have higher discernment levels. This is where you're going to really start to understand the significance of life itself. And it just gets better and better. And you might also experience wet dreams throughout any of these kinds of milestones as well. Now, I do have a video on wet dreams, and I'll make sure to put a link in the description below for that video. But the video that I have on wet dreams describes a lot about what happens with wet dreams, like what are wet dreams really. And you will experience wet dreams at some point on semen retention. It is part of the refining process. Now, I will go quickly into the two types of wet dreams. There's the pathological, which is you're entertaining lustful thoughts. And then there's the biological, which is your semen has just matured and it now needs a new place to go, because it takes about 70 days for semen to fully mature. And so you might get into that 2 months where Like your semen's matured and there's like old recycled semen that needs to be just let go. And you will feel drained in the first pathological type of wet dream, but you will not necessarily feel drained in the second biological release. So with that being said, I hope this video was informative and useful. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to contact me or leave a comment. I do have my email in the description below as well. And with that being said, peace be with you. Till next time.